All right, should be recording, right? At
Yep.
least it says it is up there. Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Yards After the Catch podcast. Here to recap all your divisional round matchups. Look ahead to the conference ones where my Pats will be playing. Not many people would have thought that before the season, but myself included. But it's going to be a light crew today. It's just we got me and Mark here. Mark, I'd ask how you were doing, but after this weekend, I have a general idea. But how's everything else going besides football?
Yeah, I've been better in the football realm, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But we still got some good football left. Couple more weeks to enjoy what's been just an insane NFL season. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just so much parity this year. Don't really know what to expect. Like you said, I don't think people had these teams on paper. Maybe on the NFC side, but I think the AFC side people are thrown for a loop this year. So, but looking forward to talking about it with you,
No,
Ben.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. I guess if before the season, if you said the Rams and Seahawks were going to be in the conference championship, you would reasonably assume the Rams. And I think a lot of people had high hopes for the Seahawks too, especially with Darnold the year before in Minnesota. But anyway, let's just go ahead and hop right into the divisional games from this weekend. Let's start with probably the game of the weekend. We got the Buffalo Bills at the Denver Broncos, game that went to overtime with the Broncos kicking the winning field goal, score ending 33-30. So, Mark, I'm going to get your thoughts on this one. Just kind of, I guess I'll pose a question. What do you think went wrong in this game for the Bills?
If you're gonna try and get the most simple answer here, there was a bad call at the end of the game that changed the outcome. But if you're gonna complain about a call here or there, um, I just don't think you should be watching football. Like at the end
Yeah.
of the day, they still turned the ball over four times. You can't expect to win that way. I mean, James Cook fumble, they could have gone up 14-3 early. Josh Allen fumble for the half. That's another 3 points. And they get a turn. They get a turnover. Deion Walker bats and catches an interception, and then Josh goes down and throws a pick. It's like you're not going to get anything going that way. But of course, it comes down to that throw. Was it a catch? Was it an interception? I've seen some angles saying one or the other, but it's yeah, it's another painful year, man. It's and then added on to that, you got McDermott being fired, which I'd see wanting to make a change. It's just funny how things kind of turned out where Brandon Bean gets a promotion this year instead of getting fired as well. Just kind of a strange outcome, weird press conferences since. Um, just weird vibes in Buffalo right now. They were so close though. It's
Sure.
funny if that's called a catch, they're in field goal range. I don't think McDermott gets fired if they win that, and then it's like okay, does he get fired if they lose the conference championship game? Like it's just it makes me ask a lot of questions, really more questions than answers at this point with the Bills. Got to give credit to Denver though, like they kind of pulled through at the end, having some huge completions to Cortland Sutton.
Mhm.
Bo Nix didn't flinch. They gave Josh Allen a tough day. Four turnovers is not good. That's and he usually doesn't do that in the playoffs. So it was tough to watch, especially after last week when he was like almost flawless. And
Right.
it's just it's tough playing in the elevation. I guess it's been a while since he played at Wyoming, so maybe it really got to him with the injuries he's been working through. But yeah, all props to the Broncos. It's just it's such a shame that Bo Nix fractured his ankle. It's the second to
Yeah.
last play. It's like, well, oh my goodness, like that's just a stab in the back. But
Right.
hey, we'll see what happens. They still got a home game, AFC Championship, and they're gonna have to play that hot team on your sweatshirt there.
Yeah. I mean, we'll obviously get into that game and look ahead, but hard for the chips to have fallen better for the as a Patriots fan where we're sitting right now.
Of course.
Now, I do have some thoughts on that game coming up where I by no means is it a shoe-in for the Patriots, but just to stick with this game, it was so weird because it seemed like it was trending like almost exactly how the Bills would want it, where, Broncos get out to a little bit of a lead, Bills come back, and I truly think the Bills, like, they just were trying to keep it close in the fourth quarter just so because they have the better quarterback. So they know that if they can just have the ball last, that's going to be a good position for them. Now, obviously, talking about like the turnovers, couple of picks, fumbles, like you said, Mark, definitely not very characteristic of Josh, especially in a big spot like that. But I was wildly impressed with Bo Nix this game when, like you said, it's a shame that he got hurt because when you're looking at the stats, they pretty much rushed the ball for nothing. Like Bo Nix was actually their leading rusher with 30 yards.
Yeah,
McLaughlin
70.
and Harvey had, yeah,
Yeah.
they had a combined 40 yards, so it pretty much had to be all done in the air. And without the turnovers, it's a wildly different game. But obviously, that's a big if when you're
Yep.
looking at end of the game. And just to touch on like the Pagula press conference was strange. Like I saw some comments on it, and I listened to a few clips where someone said, "There's a reason why we don't hear Pagula talk every few years." Like that guy,
He's
he did not
terrible.
make this. Yeah, he did not make the situation better at all. And honestly, I know we'll have to have some thoughts on Brandon Bean as well, just because I even texted you this, Mark. Like this was one of the worst Bills rosters I've seen since Josh has been the quarterback there.
Oh yeah.
Like when Dalton Kincaid is your leading receiver, like you got issues in the receiver room.
Yeah.
Defensively, they have a solid defense, but they're aging. Like Trey White, obviously up there in age. A lot of like that core has been there for a while. So
Yep.
it's going to be interesting to see what Bean does with this promotion. And I guess ultimately if Pagula is proven right by it. But we're going to get into some of like the potential head coach candidates too. I know there's one you've been kind of hoping for. Brent Dayball interviewed today, who obviously has a pretty close relationship with the Bills and Josh, especially being the coordinator there for so many years and really being the coordinator there when Josh took off and probably
Sure.
inspired a lot of that confidence in him. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, we'll and I should have said this at the top, but today's probably going to be a little bit of a shorter episode for everyone. Not too many games, and not too many games to look forward to. But let's go ahead and switch over to the NFC.
Let's
Probably
do
not
it.
much to say too much in this one with the Seahawks and Niners. The Seahawks pretty much came out of the gate swinging, figuratively and literally, with that Rashid touchdown on the opening kickoff, which was
How about
honestly
it?
sick, dude. That when I was watching that live, like that stadium just sounded like it was going absolutely crazy during that return. And I think a lot of the questions with the Seahawks coming into these playoffs were pretty much centered around Darnold. Like, is he
Yeah.
going to be able to live up to the moment? Is he going to, have a performance like he did with the Vikings last year? And quite frankly, it just didn't even matter in this game. Any quarterback could have been back there, and he ended the game 12 of 17 with 124 yards, and quite frankly, he didn't need to do anything. He basically just needed to not throw the game away, which he did. Kenneth Walker at 116 yards. That Seahawks defense was lights out. So I think, and the odds reflect this as well, that coming out of that game, I think we now finally have a Super Bowl favorite that's kind of looks like they're starting to separate themselves from the pack a little bit. Because I would actually be shocked if they lost to the Rams this week, but we'll obviously talk about that a little more.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mark, what'd you think about that one?
A lot of what you said, Arnold didn't have to do much. I was
Mhm.
watching the highlights because, admittedly, I did not watch much of this game after the Bills lost.
Right.
But
Understandable.
watching the highlights, I don't think he threw for. I mean, he threw for 124 yards total, and
Yeah.
he didn't have 100 until like late in the third quarter. So this is just, started off hot with Shaheed. That's a
Mhm.
big momentum push for them, and then just riding Kenneth Walker for the rest of the game. Uh, Really sucks that they lost Zach Charbonnet. I know we kind of talk about their running back situation as it's a little annoying in fantasy, but hopefully Kenneth can carry the load and won't need to lean on, Charbonnet like he usually does. And
Right.
hopefully they can stay, or Kenneth can stay healthy. Um, and yeah, just Darnold, just don't screw it up, man. I was just kind of last week, I was like, I don't have much else to say except this is your moment, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you're drafted in 2018. Like, you had 14 wins back to back years. Like, you have a bye. Like, this is as good as it gets, dude. Like, what do you got? And he did what they needed. So,
Yeah.
just hard for San Francisco to overcome all the injuries they had this year. Still impressed. I mean, like we're talking about, Shanahan probably had one of his best coaching performances of his career. Just
Right.
kind of working with Mac Jones and Tongus, backup tight end, and Juwan Jennings is like your premier receiver, and they're still getting things done. They were so close to being the 1 seed. That's why it'll sting a little bit for them, but knowing that they have Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Kittle, just knowing that they didn't even have Ayuk this year, like, and they still
Right.
figure like they have a lot to hang their hat on, and they're not going to go anywhere as long as Shanahan's at the helm. And I think Purdy really proved his worth down the stretch. And yeah, it's just going to be a tough division to overcome year after year with the Rams and the
No,
Seahawks. So,
no, for sure. And kind of piggybacking on what you said, I think that Kittle injury, like while the Niners were obviously still able to win that game last week, he got hurt in. I think it was just kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. Where at a certain point, like you just come into a talent deficit at a certain point with when you have so many backups out there, and Tongas had a decent game, but he wasn't Kittle out there, so yeah. But yeah, that Seahawks team is looking pretty mighty. Let's head over to the Sunday action now. I guess we'll start with my Patriots hosting the Texans. I was actually at this game in the snow. The drive home was horrible. So it was worth it to see a nice divisional win for the Patriots to get back to the AFC Championship for the first time in, for Patriot standards, a good amount of time. So, yeah, I guess to give my thoughts really quickly, the game started off almost exactly as I thought it would, where it looked like it was just going to be such an ugly game. Like I knew there was going to be turnovers on both sides. I knew it wasn't going to be a very high scoring game. And what's funny is it did actually going over with how many picks and turnovers there was.
mm,
Both teams got a good field position a good amount of the time. And yeah, I mean, the thing I really came away from, I feel like Drake played okay. He put the ball on the ground like too many times, and
mhm.
granted, two of them were strip sacks, where Will Campbell just got absolutely run over by Will Anderson, which Will Campbell's had not had a great postseason so far. I'm willing to give a little bit of grace to him just because rookie left tackle.
Yep.
Chargers defense was really good. Texans defense obviously really good. So I'm willing to give him a little bit of grace, but it's not going to be any easier this week with them playing the Broncos. But what I came away with is that Patriots defense, man, it's legit, and I feel like a lot of it too is the fact that teams cannot run the ball on us when we have Milton Williams and Tonga out there, especially. Like I remember to start the year, up until I believe it was Williams got hurt, there wasn't a single team that rushed for over 100 yards on the Patriots, and I don't think there was a player that rushed for like more than 50 yards. And then Milton Williams got hurt, Tonga got hurt, and quite frankly, our run defense just wasn't as good. So being able to stop the run, it's such a big thing in the NFL because once a team can start running downhill on you, it's just pretty much game over at that point, no matter really who the quarterback is. And when we get into the look ahead for the conference championship, that's actually going to be a big part of my reasoning. Not that Stidham exactly scares me too much, but I think it's going to be even harder for him if they're not able to really run the ball on the Patriots. But yeah, Mark, I'm curious what you thought of this game. Where did you get a chance to watch most of it?
Oh yeah, I was watching.
Mhm.
Like you said, the Patriots D arguably looked just as good as the Texans, who
Yeah.
I think is the best in the league. So they were causing just as much havoc. Four interceptions for Stroud. Just
Yeah, that was bad.
and I you can't really use the weather as the excuse for this one. I'm sure you could on some of them, but like he did this last week against the Steelers too. Like
Right.
this is he's just hasn't looked the same since his rookie year. Like arguably has regressed in each year, which was it's kind of discouraging if you're a Texans fan. Um, Especially since like you just have to realize the defense you have, and you don't have Nico Collins. Like sure you have Christian Kirk, Dalton Schultz, Woody Marks, just kind of average weapons. Like just do enough to not lose. Like kind
Right.
of kind of like what Sam Darnold did. I mean, it was a little easier for him. I'll give him that, but just not looking great for CJ Stroud since his rookie year. The Patriots
Right.
had a few blips, like you said. It's just it's going to happen with this defense. I'm not sure who caused those fumbles on.
I know Will Anderson
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
caused one
So
of them. And I want to say maybe Alshier, one of the middle linebacker, number
she
zero,
like
Alshier. Yeah,
those
he's
guys are
good too.
studs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're studs. So like it's expected. I'm almost like more willing to give the weather excuse for Drake May than for CJ Stroud, especially since this
Yeah.
is CJ's like maybe his fifth or sixth playoff game. Like he's
Yeah.
been there, done that for now. And yeah, the Patriots they had some huge touchdown catches from Diggs and Booty.
Yep.
I think
That,
like
that
the
booty catch was crazy.
yeah the wide receiver room has really come together for them. Drake's throwing a great deep ball, and
Mm.
they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in Denver. It's going to be interesting seeing a little Jared Stidham revenge game. Uh,
Yeah. I, I'm more nervous about that game than I probably should be, but that's the NFL for you, man. Anything can happen week in,
you got
week
to be.
out.
Yeah, it's the AFC Championship. It's a lot on
Yeah,
one.
for sure. Yeah. It's funny because, like, I was at the game and, you know, Stroud just did not look good at all. And obviously, people watching at home could see that too, but it just seemed like he was nervous out there every time he dropped back, man. And obviously, it's not easy when you got a good D line in front of you, pretty much pushing you back in the pocket. But on the pick six that he threw, where he was getting tackled while he threw it, I turned to my dad, who I was with, and I said to him, I was like, sometimes the best play is to just take a sack. Like he threw that ball up and five different players could have caught that. Like
It was a prayer.
it was literally such a crazy throw,
Yeah,
especially that early in the game too. I was just like, I think they were up 10-3, excuse me, 10-7 at that point. So, they were winning the game. And once he threw that, they couldn't do much the rest of the game. But yeah, I mean, I was content, that's for sure.
you should be.
Yeah. But all right, let's go to Sunday night now, where we had the Rams playing the Bears in what just looked like the coldest game ever. I was pretty cold at the Patriots game, but that was just because it was cold and it was snowing, so it was kind of like the wetness factor was really more the issue. That Bears game, it just looked like it was cold and just miserable,
The
especially with
Midwest
it.
cold.
Dude, that wind must have just been absolutely killing people. And I guess like I think that actually did play a little bit of a factor with Stafford, especially because, you know, he's up there in age now. I'm sure that cold weather hurts him a lot more now than it did when he was maybe 10 years ago playing in it when he was on the Lions, when he would have to go to like Lambeau or Chicago or all these other places. But I got to give the Bears a lot of credit because I really didn't expect too much from this year. Caleb obviously had a pretty up and down game, three interceptions, not great. Had that absurd play at the end of regulation to even get it to overtime, which, I mean, that was basically a Hail Mary on fourth down that for some reason Cole Kmet is just wide open in the corner of the end zone.
Insane.
But yeah, and I think the Bears fans are almost, I would say, similar to Patriots fans in the sense where everything that happened after the wild card round was essentially gravy because you came into this year with, questions about the quarterbacks, even though both looked like they had potential and both having brand new coaches this year as well. So towards the end of the year, at least both Bears and Patriots fans could be like, hey, whatever happens the rest of this year, we have a quarterback and we have a good head coach. So
Yep.
even though the Bears didn't win this one, I think that they should be pretty content with how this season has played out for them. And just to speak on the Rams quickly, I mean, show keeps going. Just anytime McVay, anytime you got McVay and Stafford, you're have a chance to win a game. Now, I think they're going to find it rough in Seattle this week, but also I wouldn't be that surprised if they won. When you got Puka who can just break a touchdown at any point, and you
Yep.
got Adams, you got the weapons to do it, along with a decent defense too. So, yeah, what'd you think of this one?
It was must-watch TV. I mean, I was
Mm-hmm.
watching that play with Alex at my house,
Yeah,
and we just turned to each other, jaws dropped, just like,
yeah,
did we actually just see that? Like, Caleb really is so talented and makes these ridiculous throws and extends plays. Like,
hmm
it's Mahomes-esque. It's Josh
yeah,
Allen, Lamar Jackson-esque. Like, he's emerging as one of those guys. So it's like we really had the pleasure of watching two of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. One's
yeah,
might win the MVP. We'll see. And yeah, it's funny though. The cold probably did affect Stafford. I mean, he's completed less than 50% of his passes, 31.6 QBR rating. So not great day for him, but they did enough. They had 111 yards on the ground as a team, and just they're that veteran presence, like you're saying with McVay. Then
hmm
they're done that. The cold is not a problem, and they're one game away from getting back to the Super Bowl after what people would say was like a roster reset. After they
yeah,
kind of traded all those assets away. Aaron Donald retired, so they kind of become more of an organic team, drafting their own, like
right,
Puka, like the guys on the defensive line, like Verse, Fisk, those dudes. So they've kind of come full circle. They're at the step of destiny, and they're kind of like the Patriots. Like they went away for a little bit and then they came back. I mean, I guess the
right,
Rams have been a little more competitive throughout that, but
yeah, for sure.
they're they're one game away from the Super Bowl, back to returning once again. So just great season for Chicago, like you said. They have a lot to hang their hat on. Caleb, Ben, all the weapons they have, like Loveland, and yeah, it's tough to beat a veteran team like the Rams,
Yeah,
and they shouldn't be discouraged at all.
no, I agree. I mean, the the Bears, I actually really liked what Johnson said in like his postseason press conference, where someone was like, "Oh, is this a good thing to build on?" And he's like, "What happened this year is irrelevant. We're back to
Yes.
square one next year." And I feel like that's a really good mentality for a coach to have,
Hmm.
especially with a younger team like that, where it's like, "Hey, just because we were good last year, it means literally nothing this year. So we're gonna have to work like just as hard. We're gonna have to keep improving if we want to reach that end goal." But yeah, that I think the Rams. I think they're going to end up losing this week, but same thing where I think they're going to be pretty happy with how the season went, especially Stafford, who didn't even know if he was going to play this year, as they mentioned on every
Yeah,
broadcast the Rams play on.
yeah. I mean, they've been talking about getting a replacement for Stafford for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like, so the fact that he kind of pulled an MVP season like to this
yeah,
point is it's very impressive. So
right. But yeah, nice. So that's going to be the wrap up for the divisional round this week. And before we get into the championship conference games, we wanted to talk a little bit about some of the coaches that have been hired so far. I know we got Sala going to Tennessee. We got Jesse Minter who got hired by the Ravens. Uh, obviously Harbaugh to the Giants, and who's the one I'm missing?
Jeff Halfley to the Dolphins.
Jeff Hatley to the Dolphins. So I I think we talked a good amount about Harbaugh last week. So I guess instead of doing that, what we'll do is who do you think is going to fit in the best? Oh, and Kevin Stefanski to the Falcons. That was the other one. Yeah. So I guess the question is, which coach do you think is going to have the most immediate effect on the franchise that he went to?
Out of the ones that are hired so far, I'm going to go with Kevin Stefanski. I just think
Mhm.
he's the most proven. If he wasn't hired already, I'd want him to be the Bills head coach, to be honest, because he
Yeah,
is kind
a
of
good coach.
an offensive mastermind. So I think he's going to fit in well, whether it's for Cousins or Penix eventually. And they got Matt Ryan as the team president now, so I think that's a good kind of
Yep.
uh, you got some good leadership there, ready to steady this ship in a very attainable division, the NFC South. We've talked about all year, up for grabs. Like now, you got
Yeah.
yourself one of the best head coaching options this go around, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. And it it's also a little bit of a the Falcons probably have the best roster of all those teams. At least they have some of the best weapons. Obviously, with Bijan and Drake London, you have your two elite skill position guys. Quarterback, it seems like it's going to be Cousins next year, but who
Yeah.
knows? They'll probably end up drafting a quarterback either in the mid to late rounds this year as well. Oh, look at that. We got Alex in the building.
Wow.
What's going on, gentlemen? How we doing?
Welcome from Detroit.
From Detroit in the
Wow.
airport.
Oh,
Still
wow.
got the background up, ready to go.
Yep, nothing's gonna stop us. How we doing, guys?
We're doing good. We're talking head coaches.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah.
guess so what we were saying, Alex, is of the all the coaches that have been hired so far,
Mhm.
which one do you think is going to have the biggest impact on the team he's going to? Mark just said Stefanski going to the Falcons.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that because I think if you look at the way Cleveland was constructed, or at least hoped to be constructed, it was about around a high-powered offense with a lot of talent on the outside, which is kind of what Atlanta has. But I also see Harbaugh in New York being a huge home run. I think they need a stable voice. They need an experienced coach who has a winning background. They haven't had that in a long time. So I think that that's kind of exactly what the doctor ordered when it comes to New York. And they have a good, young nucleus. They just need some stability and someone who's going to be on a multi-year deal that's going to kind of quell, concerns there for sure.
No, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I tend to agree. It might be Harbaugh. And I think the real wild card is Jesse Minter. I mean,
Mhm.
same
Mm-hmm.
thing with the Falcons, where he's kind of going to already a built roster, and him being a defensive coach, obviously D coordinator for the Chargers, who had a great defense this year.
Yep.
I think if he can really build up that Ravens defense, then Lamar can kind of at least bandage some of the problems they might have on offense, at least for next season. But yeah, good stuff. I guess real quick, Alex, what did let's give us your quick thoughts on the Bills Broncos game.
I mean, short answer, because you guys have probably already covered it at great length. Like, I
Yeah.
think it just boils down to the Josh Allen turnovers. I hate to say it. I mean, he's been phenomenal all year, but he got in his own way. He gave, short gimmies to one of the best defenses in the league. And, everybody wants to boil down to that Cooks, play with it's a catch or if it's not a catch. I totally agree that that was a very critical call. There was a lot of spot calls in that overtime, especially with the Trey White DPI down in the end zone in the red zone. So, but they just they've had issues all year getting stops, and they still give up 30 points to this inconsistent offense with Bo Nix. So I think they had a lot of issues throughout this game stopping the run, um, and it was just it was tough to watch because I know
Yeah.
obviously Mark, I thought this would have been Josh's year to break through with having Lamar, Mahomes, and Burrow out of the picture, but it just sometimes it's just not meant to be at the time being. So we'll have to see what happens next year.
Yeah, for sure, man. It was a rough game to watch unless you were a Broncos fan. until the 5 minutes after the game, and then it was a rough game.
And then it was bad for everybody.
Yeah, then no one was happy other than Pats and Texans
Yeah.
fans. But all
Texans
right,
were never
and
happy.
yeah, and so I guess real quickly sticking with the coaches, obviously there's still a few jobs left to be filled. We got the Browns, your Raiders, Alex. We got Mark's Bills. So I guess we'll pose it to both of you.
Yeah.
So Mark, who is your like ideal candidate that would be the Bills head coach? And then Alex, I'm going to ask you the same thing for the Raiders.
So they haven't interviewed him yet because they're not allowed to. Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. Yeah, I stole Alex's choice probably. But you know, it's there's the thing is like when you move on from a coach like Sean McDermott, you know, with all the playoff blunders he's had, I'm sorry, there's not a lot of obvious upgrades in the market right
Yeah.
now, unless you're interested in a retread option like Mike Tomlin or Mike McCarthy, or you know, people still throw out Bill Belichick's name. It's like I just don't think that's the direction they need to head in. They need to get an offensive-minded guy. You know, maximize what you have with Josh. Don't have your offensive coordinators moving on every couple of years. And I think this is the obvious one. Seattle's offense kind of exploded this year. He's got a good lineage. Garrett Kubiak, former head coach of the Broncos, Texans, played quarterback. So, you know, football's in his blood. I think they could hold out and wait for him to, you know, get done with coaching in this playoff, and then get him in the building, see what happens. I know he's going to be a hot candidate when he's available, though, and I'm sure he'll go to all these teams. I know I recommended him for the Steelers last episode, but that was before Sean McDermott got fired. So I'm selfishly going to take him back for myself.
Hey, fair enough.
But I will say, yeah, I kind of think they're going to hire Brian Dable. That's just the feeling I got. But we'll see.
Yeah, we will. The good news with the Bills, slightly different situation than the Raiders, obviously, Alex, where Bills is going to be a very attractive place to go for any head coach, having the best quarterback in the league just fall into your lap essentially. But Alex, so it sounds like you were looking at Clint Kubiak as well.
100%. I think he's one of the best coaching candidates on the market. But I would also throw, for sake of parity in this episode, I would like to say Mike LaFleur has definitely been on the short list for me too, just with the fact that they've made it this far. They haven't faltered against, the past rounds, going down early. I thought that's, a huge kudos to the coaching staff. But I think with the Raiders hire, they've had so many swings and misses. I think all that it really matters about is making sure that Mendoza has the right person. And I don't think anything else matters, like literally. I think you can fill out your DC, your OC, your special teams coordinator, your line coach, all that stuff. But I think it really just boils down to who has the best possible relationship with Mendoza. And I think it's really between, in terms of compatibility and energy, I think it's between Kubiak and LaFleur. I really do.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, obviously, seems like it'd be shocking if the Raiders didn't take Mendoza, but getting the top quarterback prospect is going to be nice for any coach as well. But yeah, good stuff, boys. Let's go ahead and move forward to looking at the championship games next week. So let's start off my Patriots against the Jarrett Stidham-led Broncos.
Oh, baby.
Pats are -4.5, and to kind of give my quick thoughts on this game, it's like I said to Mark earlier, Alex, I wish I felt a lot better than this game than I do. And everyone's going to talk about, we should beat Stidham. Realistically, we should. But when I was kind of looking into some stats earlier today, Broncos best offensive line in the league by a pretty wide margin. They had seven less sacks allowed than the next highest team throughout the regular season, only allowing 6 sacks across the regular season. So that's going to be great for Stidham right there. Now, what me and Mark also talked about earlier is just how good that Pats run defense is, with Milton Williams and Tonga being back and being healthy. Pats are really getting healthy at the right time. Mac Hollins actually practiced today, at least in some capacity, so there's a chance he might be playing this week, which would be huge. I mean, Pat's wide receivers I've got nothing to complain about them at all this year, for pretty much top down to the bottom. But yeah, I wish I could say I'm looking forward to it, but it's really just going to be 3 hours of hell unless the Pats can blow it open early, which I really don't see happening. But I'm not gonna pick against them now, so I'll take the Pats to win and get to another Super Bowl, which is pretty wild to even say, to even be in this position. But Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I honestly can't believe we're here, but
We're
but
so back. We're so back.
yeah, that's it.
Would you take
Unless
like 3
Jared
years
Stidham
off?
has something to say about it. I mean, he's going against his former team.
Yeah.
Alex knows Jared Stidham is not anyone to scoff at. He was their backup in
Yeah.
on Oakland or Vegas, sorry, and he's put
Oakland.
up some good performances, and they gave him a decent contract in Denver to step up in these situations. So we'll see. Like you said, good offensive line to protect him. He's going to have to rely on R.J. Harvey, Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, Mims. Like, there's guys he can lean on. So we'll see what happens. This is a game of his life, that's for sure. But just the way the Patriots defense played last week, and just like you said, the wide receiver room has been coming through, whether it's Booty, Diggs, Williams, Hollins, which I'm glad you love Hollins now, because I was hyping him up last year. And
I liked him too.
Yeah, he was a Raider too. Like, if you've had Mac Hollins, like that's a good guy to have in your wide receiver.
Good guy to have.
And yeah, 4.5 points. The Patriots should win this game. The elevation's a factor, but just the status of each roster and what New England has done up to this point. I think it's gonna be tough for Denver. It's arguably gonna be tougher than when they played the Bills last week, because it was went to overtime. It's a great game,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna have to put up that kind of performance again.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think they're giving some love to Denver with Stidham, because in normal circumstances, if this was death to their picks with bonus going out, this would be 8.5, a 10-point spread. But I think he just has to be good enough to stay out of his own way, lean on that offensive line, like Mark said, like we know. Let the defense create short opportunities. This is one of the best defenses in the league, and that's for a reason. They create takeaways. Um, I think it's just about reducing the turnovers. We saw how the Bills game played out. So if they can create, short-term opportunities for him, I think this may come down to whoever has the ball last. I think that's why it's at 4.5.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a close game no matter what. I don't expect it to be a very high-scoring game. I think both defenses are really going to be. I think both defenses know that the path to victory in this game is going to be getting to each quarterback. So, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, I guess. It's gonna be fun as a neutral watcher. That's for sure. But
right now it's 42.5 is the over/under.
So I wouldn't. I mean, it's funny because I said earlier that Pats Texans game, even though it felt like such a ugly, low scoring game, that game actually ended up going over too. So you never know with Vegas didn't get built by making incorrect lines. So
no, I don't think so.
But let's switch over to the NFC now. We got the Rams against the Seahawks, an all NFC West conference championship game. Seahawks are -2.5, so right under a field goal. I personally, I talked about it a little bit where I just think the Seahawks kind of emerged as the favorite coming out of last week. I think they got a lot of firepower. I was talking about this with Mark, Alex, where right now the Seahawks, it's basically all comes down to whether Darnold's going to shit himself in the biggest moment or not. And luckily last week they didn't need him to really even play. They could have sent a back out there and they probably would have won that game. But yeah, I think they continue it this week. I think it's obviously a lot closer than that Niners game, but I do think the Seahawks will end up winning. How about you, Mark?
I am going to pick the Rams here.
Wow.
Rams with 2.5 points. Give me that all day. We're talking about, this is a veteran team with McVay, Stafford. They're out of the cold now. They're going to a place they're a little more familiar with playing with. I don't think that Seattle crowd's going to get to Stafford, and he's just going to continue just an MVP performance, just leaning on Nakua, Adams, hopefully get the run game going. I'm kind of leaning on experience here, and you know, like we were saying, like Darnold, just don't screw it up. I don't know if it's going to be
Yeah.
that easy against the Rams. I think he might need to really step up and make some big time throws, which he
Yeah.
is capable of doing. We just have to see it. So I'm kind of just leaning on experience here, and I'm going with the Rams plus 2.5. But I'll take the over because I think these are two pretty solid offenses here. I mean, we were talking about Clint Kubiak being our head coach, so you know McVay versus Kubiak. It'll be a good matchup. Yeah, give me the Rams.
Nice. All right, Alex, you're going to be the tiebreaker here. Who's the who you got in this one?
Oh, geez, no pressure. Um, so I got to take this. This is one I went back and forth on. This is not as clear cut as I hoped. But I got to take the Rams here. It really like I was going back and forth on it day by day. I agree with Mark that I don't think it's good enough to be staying out of your way and controlling the clock and running it through Charbonneau and Walker. I know he's hurt, but I think you got to make some plays, and I just trust in the biggest stages to um, for Stafford to show up and be that guy. I think he's riding that MVP energy. I think he knows that the finish line is here. I think the Seahawks, and I said this from day one in terms of when we picked divisions and stuff. I said that Seattle would win the division, but I didn't expect them to make the Super Bowl, let alone surpass the Rams. So I had the Rams as my NFC for picks for day one. I got to ride with it, and even when you go back to that November 16th game, like there was like a combined 8 or 9 turnovers. They still scored, a combined 40 points. So I'm definitely taking the under here. I really like the under. I'd like to spread at 2.5 because I think this really is a field goal game. But I expect the Rams to win something like a 19-16 type of game.
Okay.
Nice. All right. Well, you heard it here first. Looking like a Rams Patriots Super Bowl. That'd be
Ugh,
cool.
that's
That would
so
be
ugly.
cool. That'd be
So
chill.
ugly.
Yeah, can't wait to watch that.
Is
Yeah.
this like the third or fourth time this happened? It happened during
This is yeah. This
British
would be
show
the
on
third
turf.
time.
Well, you think this is the third, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brady's first one. Brady's last one. Yeah.
Yeah, three's enough.
Eh. Eh.
I was like,
Pick
I
any
had to
other
mute my
NFC. Pick any other NFC team.
Yeah.
Okay.
mic.
Well, I think that covers just about everything we wanted to talk about, boys. Like we said, today is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. But yeah, if you're watching, feel free to leave any comments. If you disagree with us, like the video, subscribe, hit all the buttons. And like we always say, DraftKings, if you want to sponsor us, why not?
Yeah. We'll bend
Can't
over a
give me
barrel
one
for you.
reason why not DraftKings. Yeah, why not? But all right, that's going to do it for us, boys. Hopefully, we can do this next week with the
Yes.
Patriots going to the Super Bowl. So
Go
we'll
Bills. There's
see.
always next year.
There's always next year, and that's what they're used to. But all
I
right,
got my Denver Voodoo doll. Does that help?
okay, gotcha. There's
Perfect.
always next year for the Raiders too, Alex. So you never
There's
know.
never a next year. It's
Okay,
a constant rebuild.
gotcha.
It's
Come
a
on,
constant
Mendoza
rebuild.
Mania.
Mendoza.
Yeah, I should have said Signetti's the top of my list, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's a.
Oh, dude, the Signetti Mendoza combo in Vegas. You couldn't picture two guys that are less fit for Vegas than those two guys.
That's why it's beautiful. It's an
Yeah.
outlier city. They're not worthy of a team.
All right, boys, let's hop off here now. We'll catch everyone next week, and yeah, thanks for listening.
Peace.
Peace.